Oh, we flew in. There we go. We got 4
Oh,
thumbs
we're
up already. Was that you? 4 times?
Yeah. No, that was actually I was one of them. There were 4 before me, so you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
we
guys.
are.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. So
Yeah.
welcome,
Good
everybody.
evening.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another church service here with Dave and Dave at Mixing Music Analog. So tonight we're going to do I'm calling this the wrap. It's to end of 2022, right? We're a week out from Christmas and less than a week out from Christmas. And this will be the last broadcast we're going to do for the year for sure. We're not going to do another one this year.
Oh yeah.
And so we wanted to just get on here, wish everyone a happy holiday, chat a little bit, kind of review what we've done and in the last this year, and then what's coming up on the channel in the new year, so you guys kind of know about that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the gear that we've both acquired in the studio and just talk through that. And then we're going to hang out with you guys and whatever questions you guys may have, if any, we'd be happy to answer. And Bobby's here. Hey Bobby, how are you, brother?
Hey Bobby.
Good to see you. So I think that's what we're going to do tonight, and
Yeah.
and that'll be it for 2022. So how you doing, Dave?
Yeah.
How's things going?
I'm doing good, I mean, just getting ready, working hard at getting to the end of year at work and dealing with the Christmas time with the family stuff. But yeah, we're doing good. How you making out over there?
Good. Just working, trying to wrap up the year, but we're busy. I'm doing video recording galore between these 2 YouTube channels, man. It's just nonstop videos. I'm just going, trying to get next year kind of queued up and just start popping out a bunch of stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff in 2023 we're going to do. And that's really it. Make sure you guys let us know if our audio levels are relatively close in volume and it sounds good, because it sounds good to me, but I never know over the YouTubes how it's going to go. Kay Pitchford is here. Hey, Uncle Dave and David JS. It's good to be back with you both. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. And if you're watching this on the replay, even if it's after the Christmas holiday, I hope you had a good holiday. And I hope you're all doing well and your family's all safe. So we may as well get rolling, right? So what we're going to do tonight. So first thing I want to do is kind of review 2022. Now the channel's about 1.5 years old, because we started in July or June of 2021, right before the SSL showed up. But 2022, we did a ton of content, Dave. How many videos do you think we did in 2022? I was shocked. Just
on Mixing
on this
Music Analog?
Yeah. How many videos do you think we published?
90 to 100 maybe.
Ah, you're pretty close. 98.
Yeah, okay.
98 videos. That's more than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was that much. I thought but it was 98 videos. I went back and counted them, and that doesn't include this video tonight. So we did 100 videos. That's nearly 2 a week.
Okay.
When you break it all down, and that includes all the content, the live streams, and some of those are live streams. Like what I'll do tonight is there'll be a bunch of 4 or 5 topics that I'll cut them up into smaller videos so people can watch them in bite-sized chunks. That includes all of that. But we did a ton of content, mostly around gear setup and gear review and mixing. That's really what we focused on the most part. Mixing probably the least of those 3 categories. We've done some mixing stuff, but most of it's been around hardware versus hardware versus plugins, wiring the racks, rewiring the racks, rewiring the wax a third time.
yeah. And then just for the hell of it, rewiring the rewiring job. Yeah.
Again, over and over. So we did a ton of videos, which is great. You guys have all, been really cool, and all the comments you guys are leaving and participating. We're getting near 6,000 subscribers, which is really cool.
Nice.
And hopefully that'll continue to grow. And we have a highly, what I found was it's not a very big audience, but it's a highly engaged audience. Meaning if you look at the amount of people that watch the videos and you look at the comments and the engagement, it is a lot more than the typical small channel would be. So that's
right.
Thanks to everybody that's watching and participating. It does help, man. Hey, Zona, how you doing, brother? Good to see you here. So now in 2023, what I already have planned out. So my goal for 2023, as far as how much content are we going to publish, I'm committing to 50 videos, 1 video a week. I don't know that we're going to do 100. We're not going to, I don't know. We're not going to do 100. I have too many
doubt it.
other things going on, but
Yeah.
one video a week is still going to come, probably every Friday like it's been going on, maybe a little bit more than that because I already have the entire list of every video we're going to do this year. But that doesn't include, you know, there may be, what if new gear shows up? What if it doesn't include any live streams? It doesn't include any interviews with people from, you know, talking to Chris at audio-scape or talking to some other manufacturers I'm going to talk to soon. So it'll probably be more like 60 videos. So that's what we're going to do. Might be a few less, it might be a few more, but that's what we're going to do. So, and in that, Dave, we talked about, there are going to be some recording videos in that along the way. So recording to the console, right? First and foremost, drums, that'll be the first thing. And we'll probably record guitars and bass and stuff too. We're going to do a little bit of recording. Some of that won't start until probably the springtime, probably May, June, sometime there. But we're going to do some recording on the SSL as well to get, you know, to get that content kind of rolling in and then to experience what it sounds like when we record through the board instead of just mixing through the board. Right.
Cool. Yeah.
So that'll be fun. So really what we would like to know too, from all of our audience, our faithful audience is, you know, let us know in the comments below, what kind of videos, if there's anything specific you want to see. So a lot of you's done that. And some of the things that haven't been done yet are on the list for next year. Like we get asked a lot about the difference between the SSL EQ compared to an SSL plugin EQ. That is that'll happen in January. That's at the top of the list because we've been asked to do that a bunch of times. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. And then there's other videos that people have sent in some ideas and asked questions and we just haven't gotten to them yet, but they're going to happen in the beginning of the new year. But it would be great if all you guys would let us know, what do you guys want to see? I mean, you know, short of going out and just buying every piece of gear under the sun, which we can't do, but certain things we might be able to get some stuff and try things out. It depends what it is and what the manufacturer is. But if you guys can let us know in the comments, what kind of video, what kind of content do you want us to do? Yeah. And then we'll incorporate that into next year's schedule for sure. Yeah.
Because, you know, and, you know, new video ideas are always welcome. You know, I mean, we have a bunch of ideas for ourselves too, but if there's things that, you know, people are interested in, we can always try to make them work. You know, the only problem we run into is when people keep requesting like hardware that we don't have access to. Right. You know, right. I mean, like I saw in the comments from the DBX video that we just did the last week, is like people are like throwing out 10 different DBX units. You know, we don't have them. You know, and we're probably not going to get them. So like, we can't do that, you know, like, but you know, for stuff that we do have or stuff that we have coming in, I think like a lot of the plugin comparison stuff is we still have a lot of that to do. You know?
there's a good portion of that on the list for sure for the hardware that we do have and where the plugin counterparts are there. We'll continue to do that. But yeah, that's the only drawback. I mean, believe me, I wish I was, you know, like, you know, worked at Sweetwater and I can just borrow gear, you know, at whim and just bring it back the next day. But unfortunately, the way a lot of that stuff has to work is I have to go out and purchase it.
Yeah.
And then flip it. You know, I mean, I could, there's a couple of pieces that I could buy from, I've been thinking about getting anyway, and I'd like to try it and I'd buy it from Sweetwater. And if it wasn't my bag, I can always return it. I could do that a couple of times with a couple of pieces of gear, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I can't do that, you know, every 3 weeks calling them up going, hey, send me this and send me this. And say, you know, you can't, I can't do that.
Yeah, no.
But there are some things
we can't do the hardware of the month thing, you know?
No, I wish I could. I really wish I could, because if I could do that with somebody, I'd be willing to do that. I'd be willing to try stuff out and just send it back. I don't need to keep the gear, but there's not many places that are going to do that. Sweetwater will do it to a degree, but it depends on the gear. It depends on whether they have a demo unit in stock, because for them to give us a unit, we open it, we return it. It can't be sold as new anymore. And so there's all kinds of things like that. So we'll try where we can, but anyway, that, you know, it's not much we can do there except just the stuff that we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pitchford, Kay Pitchford just asked if the SSL Bus Plus is on our wish list, and
no, there it is. I'll put his comment up here. No, it's not. No, it's not, because I have that compressor in the console, and I have most of the feature that's on there already there between there and the Fusion. There's really no reason for me to get it. I mean, I guess it's got a couple of different features. It's not the same exact thing, but it's enough of the same thing that probably not. I could tell you, I'm sure it's a great unit. It's the G series bus compressor ×2. You know, and a couple additional features. I'm sure it's great. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great. But yeah, it's not something I'm gonna buy because I've already got that. I have no real need for that particular unit. But I'm sure it's a great unit.
Yeah, I mean, to demo that unit is basically just there. Yeah, like you say, everything we have there already demos that unit. I mean, a G bus compressor in that unit is going to be the same as the G bus compressor in the board.
Right.
So yeah, we can't, you know, we're not going to do that because we already have all those pieces of hardware available. If you like what you're hearing from ours, the Bus Plus is a great way to get it, you know, in a small unit without having to buy the whole board, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, and there are some times where, like SSL, for example, in November of this year, at least on my other channel, they were heavily on the UC1 and the UF8, and they wanted me to do some videos for them, and they'll send me some gear to do some of those videos. So that's not to say they wouldn't have a new piece of gear coming out that might fit into this channel. We might be able to get a loaner or get one for demo. That could happen. But it doesn't happen real often on high ticket items. You know, Abe wants to know thoughts on the Warm Audio WA47. You just ordered it from Sweetwater. Great, Abe. Good to see you. Did you use Uncle Dave's Sweetwater affiliate link when you ordered that, my friend? I hope you did. If you didn't, please do next time. Anyway, I'm kidding. You know, I've never used it. I have only used a few Warm Audio pieces in the past. I've tried a few in the past, couple of compressor units and their Pultec EQs, and I wasn't thrilled with them. But I know tons of people that use Warm Audio and swear by it. And so it might be something really cool. But if you bought it from Sweetwater and you don't like it, you could turn it back. Hey, Charlie's here. Hey, Charlie, what's up, brother? From Ultimate Studios Inc. Go see Ultimate Studios Inc. Charlie's a good buddy, and we're gonna I'm gonna get together back on his channel soon and do some gear talk with him once we get through the holidays. So good to see you, my friend.
Hey,
so Warm Audio is pretty cool, but I don't use much of their stuff.
Warm Audio, people have like a love-hate thing going with Warm Audio because I think it's mainly based upon, you know, like user experience.
Yes.
I mean, I've got 3 pieces of Warm Audio in here, and I love them all. I mean, like to me, they're fantastic. I've never had an issue with any of them. But then you talk to the next guy down the road, and he'll tell you that, you know, his stuff crapped out right away, or lasted a year and then died, or whatever. And it's a user experience thing. It's definitely good, you know, price level stuff. You know what I mean?
It's super affordable.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like you're getting a lot for the money. I mean, their bus compressor, I love it. You know, I mean. I'm not planning on replacing it with anything else, and then I have 2 of their preamps, and they're both fantastic. So, you know, it's a matter of what you use. I don't have any experience with their microphones, but if they're like the rest of it, I'm sure they'll be fine. You know.
Yeah, I think Warm Audio at one point, and I've heard it's been corrected, but again, I have no knowledge. Maybe if anyone here in the chat owns Warm Audio stuff, you can state your experience. That in the past they had quality control issues. Now I've heard that stuff has been resolved. Now we're going back a few years. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it didn't happen last week. This is going back 2-3 years from people I've heard. And I did have in my studio, and it wasn't a quality problem with them. They worked perfectly fine, but I did have the Pultecs. This is going back 4 years maybe. I did have the 76 compressor, and I did have the opto compressor, and I didn't like them, and so I sent them right back.
I remember those. Those are all on the Home Recording Made Easy channel too.
They sure are.
Yeah.
Now, are they different today? Have they fixed some of those issues? I don't know. Maybe at one point I would try one again. They're affordable enough, but yeah, but again, like I said, you don't have any problems with them. I'm sure there's people in the chat that doesn't have any problems with them. So anyway, Harley Bob 957. Hey Harley, what's up, brother? Mixing music analog. Are you still planning on doing a course in 2023? Not 1, 2. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but we'll talk about it now. So January, Dave, I start filming the mixing and pop mixing hybrid pop. That's starting in January.
That's like the base course.
So it's going to be a full mixing course start to finish, but it's going to be a pop song. So mixing pop, that'll come out probably February, end of February, beginning of March. I film it next month, and then I got to edit it and everything, and it's a big to do. And then there's going to be depending on the popularity of that course, there will be a mixing rock course coming up sometime in the end of this, towards the summertime, maybe early fall. So there's
Right.
2 hybrid mixing courses scheduled for next year. If those do well, I could do others. And so they'll be, you know, fully featured, not an overview of here's what I did and walk you through it. No, we're talking about like any of my courses. If you take any of them at Home Recording Made Easy, and when I do them in the box, it's going to be the same thing. 6 different camera angles in the studio featuring all the hardware, the console, me, the room, everything, start to finish, from the time that we load the files in, prep the session, walk through everything, set it up for a client, set it up to be recalled, the printing all the stems, the whole kit and caboodle, like the way I would do a real client project. That's why it's going to take so long. And outside of hearing a very rough mix of the song from the artist, I'm not listening to the music. I know what song it is, but I've heard it once or twice. It's live. It's live. So you get to see it, and you see me react to the problems and whatever we're going to do in real time. So it's not like a lot of what you see in a lot of other websites, which are all fantastic. Go buy all their stuff. But those are usually synopsis of something that's already been done. It's already been scripted. It's already been blah, blah, blah. They give it to you in 90 minutes, and you see a day's worth of work done in 90 minutes. I take you through a day's worth of work and show you what it's really like to do this, and how an engineer deals with the issues as they come up, and how we make choices on the fly. And I don't know what gear I'm going to use, and I don't know what hardware we're going to use, and I have no idea. So that's why my courses are different, and they're a lot longer, and you have to be patient, and you got to just take your time and absorb it. And I think you're really going to like it. And we've done some test runs this year on the mixingmadeeasy.net mixing membership website, where I mixed a couple of songs on the console to kind of get my bearings on how this whole thing is going to be filmed and edited. And that was a stripped down version. And I thought they came out really good. So I'm really excited about doing those. So the answer to your question is yes, they're coming. And just stay tuned, because you'll hear all about it when it shows up.
Yep.
Let's see. Hey, Jimmy Farmer, how you doing, brother? Kaiser says the SPL Big 500 series. Any thoughts on the module? Would like to see your review. That's the stereo widener, I think. Right? Isn't that the stereo widener?
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's got a big black knob right in the center of it. I don't think I have any plans to get it. If SPL wants to send it to me for a review, I'd be glad to send it and send it back to them. Because I already got a stereo widener on the Fusion, so I have no real need for that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about thinking too. Is I've got it on the Fusion as well, so why I don't need to add another one, you know. So I mean, a stereo widener is a stereo widener to me, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Fusion one. It's pretty subtle. Anyway.
Yeah.
Ultimate Studios, Charlie says, I'm with you on Warm Audio, David. However, I will say that the Revive mods are quite good on them. Yeah, so I know Charlie, I mean, we've talked about this. I know in the past he's had some issues with Warm Audio, and he's got them he got them modded by Revive, the ones that did our DBXs, and he says now they're great. And and so that's really cool. Yeah. So I know if you go to Revive Audio's website, they always have a different selection of all different gear, and there's always 1 or 2 Warm Audio pieces on there. So it'd be interesting to see, you could probably get something still pretty affordable, because even if like their compressor's $500 and they charge you a couple of $100 to mod it, you might be able to get a really nice unit for still under $1,000, which is great, So let's see. What else here? Abe, when mixing on a console, do you still use corrective plugins? We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Well, I've just started to test out the other day as an experiment. I started just using the new SonarWorks reference ID, whatever it is. I loaded it up, I measured the room, and I was playing around with it. And so far, I'm fairly impressed with it. Not that I've had any problems per se. I don't have problems with clients sending back mixes telling me that there's too much bass or not enough bass, or it's too this or too that. I don't get those. So I know that my mixes translate well because I know the room and I know the speakers, even with its deficiencies. But I have been trying it, and so far I'm pretty impressed with SonarWorks, but it does take a little getting used to, I will say. So Dave, I know you said you played with the IK Multimedia one. You said a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
I've played with the ARC. Like I've mapped the room on both sets of speakers with the ARC just to know what it's doing, but I haven't really used the corrective end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like at least I know what the room is doing, so I know that like what I'm here, what I can adjust to what I'm hearing to it that way. But like Abe was asking too about using like repair plugins like Soothe or anything like that. And on the board, I don't think we run into any situations where you've needed to do anything like that, where you've needed either Soothe or Gilfoss or anything like that on the board mixes.
No, as far as audio, that's audio repair. I use RX8 or RX10 a lot. But that's audio restoration, audio repair. So I've used that, but not Soothe or I've used them in the box. I've tried them out. I have Gilfoss. It's cool. But no, I really haven't. I haven't had to use a lot of plugins in the box. I mean, I'm using 5. I mean, it's all analog. I'm not really using plugins. Very few.
Yeah. Yeah, and your plugins the plugins are mainly on your print track, right? They're not on individual tracks at all.
No, they're not. Unless it's the only time I would ever use, not actually the only time, but one of the more common times I would use a plugin on a track is if it runs beyond the 32 long faders and I don't have the EQ available to me on the small faders, then I'll EQ it in the box. I mean, and then sometimes, I have a de-esser for the lead vocal. I have a hardware de-esser, but sometimes I'll, on background vocals, I'll de-ess it in the box. I mean, there are some things I'll do, but most times it's mostly just gear. It's very few plugins now. Jimmy Riggs. Hey, Jimmy Riggs, suggestion on MADI converters to pair with an RME Fireface interface, thinking that the Antelope Orion 32, if they want to send it to me, I'll try it. I mean, I've looked at all that gear and I know what it costs, and I have no, again, like I said, Jimmy, like we were saying earlier, depending on the equipment in the company, I'll do reviews and I'll check things out if people want to send it to me, but I'm not running out and buying all this stuff just to do a video. So because I don't have a need for converters or anything like that at this stage, that's not something I would probably do.
Yeah.
But I've actually reached out to Orion, Antelope before, and they never responded to me. So I tried to hook up with them. They didn't want to. They didn't want to talk to me.
I still have a theory on that, but I still have the theory that I don't think any converter manufacturer really wants direct comparisons. You know what I mean? Because like if it comes out that the differences are so minute that they don't warrant the price difference, then that's going to look bad for them. And I just don't think I don't think they want the comparison. So that's why I think we don't hear back from them when we talk to them.
It's valid. That's valid. I suppose they don't want me to compare it to an interface that's 1/4 the price, like we did with the UA ones, and said these sound just as good. They're not gonna.
Yeah. No, Jimmy.
I understand.
Jimmy Riggs, we do not have a recommendation because we have no experience with any of the hardware that you're working with. We don't have MADI converters.
Yeah.
We have no recommendation for you at all. So, unfortunately, you're like that's above what we're doing right now. So your best bet would be to go to somebody who has that type of a studio and ask them. Unfortunately, we can't help you.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you something about that I know absolutely nothing about.
Yeah.
Steven asks or says, I think seeing you guys make decisions based on source material would be good, like determining which compressor to use as a result of what you were hearing. For instance, when to use FETs versus opto on bass. That's where you're gonna, when you pick up the mixing hybrid course, you're gonna see all of that happen in real time. If I'm listening to this and mixing, picking gear with a purpose, this particular element sounds a certain way. I want it to sound a different way from a compression point of view. This is why I would pick this compressor. That's all going to happen. That will happen in the course. Some of that will happen in some YouTube videos. I do have some videos listed for next year, just to take, for example, here, we're going to take the distressor plugin. We're going to take a distressor compressor, and we're going to put it on kick, snare, toms, overheads, rooms, acoustic. We're going to put on every element in a typical mix. What does it sound like? What are all the different settings? Where would this be appropriate? Where would it not be appropriate? So I think some of that, Stephen, will come in that way. But more, as it pertains to a certain mix, because every mix is different, every element is different, that will happen during the courses. That's one of the reasons why I'm creating the courses. And the way that I create them, as I said, in real time, is for that exact reason, Dave. It's not done and then I just show you, here's what I did and here's all my settings, because that's horseshit. That's not teaching. That's just, you know, I want you to see it in real time and go, okay, I hear this bass guitar and it sounds whatever. And I'm going to use this compressor because ... And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to use it. Now, you may not agree with it. You may hate the way it sounds on the mix or whatever, but you're going to know what my thought process is. And so that's going to happen for sure, Steve. Good suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brian, let me see. Everyone's chatting it up. Super pumped about my Radiant Price PCIe card.
PCIe card.
32, more IO. Adding the Pharaoh fish. I've heard a lot about the Pharaoh fish and the Cranborn 500, which is the their 500 thingy. Future proof the hardware. Good job, Brian.
Yeah.
I know.
That's a lot of tech going on there.
He's always buying gear, Brian. Gotta love that.
That's a lot of tech happening in that studio, you know.
So let's move on here. So let's get to the gear section here. So let's talk about. We're going to start with David's J. We want to talk, Dave. What gear did you get in your studio in 2022? And what's your favorite piece of gear that you got in 2022? And did you sell anything off that you said, this was cool, but I'm going to flip it and get something else? Because we've all done that at least 5 times a year.
What gear did I add in 2022? Pretty much all of it. If you go back and watch my studio tour, I can pretty much say that the vast majority of what I have in here came in within the past 12 to 18 months. So like I said, let's refer back to when we started the channel. Pretty much everything came in after that. The few pieces I had before that, like the ART Pro VLA, my interface, of course, and a couple other smaller pieces. Yeah, they've been here for a while, but for the most part, I think I pretty much started last year in the fall with the Black Lion B17-2A, as I was recently told it's pronounced. It's the B17-2A, not the B172A, which was the first really serious piece I added. And then the Fusion came in, and I know I had the Warm Audio bus compressor before we started the channel. That was the first real Warm Audio piece I've had. And I was using an ART preamp on the master bus, but then I added the WA73 and the WA412A to the master bus stuff. And then, like I said, the rest of it, mainly the 500 rack came in this year and all the modules in it. So that would be like the 2 SPLs, the DBXs, the Lindell pieces I have, the Lindell Pultec, and then the Lindell stereo FET compressor. I bought those 2 SSL modules off of you, and I built those 2 do-it-yourself recording equipment modules. So that's pretty much everything I added. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I added, except for a couple extra patch bays, which became necessary. But
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
But let's think about what's your favorite piece of gear that you bought out of all that shit. We'll answer a couple of questions. So Abe wants to know, when tracking vocals with compression, do you have a target area you're aiming for as far as gain reduction? If I'm tracking vocals, when I was tracking vocals, I mean, it really depends. But normally, personally, when I was tracking vocalists, because vocals are I wouldn't compress it all that much. Maybe 3-5 dB. It depends on the performance and the vocalist, but I always wanted to leave. I didn't want to squash it too much, because when it gets in the track and it gets to mixing, you can't uncompress it. So if it was and sometimes not at all. I mean, it would depend on the performance, the singer, the type of song, how well they work the microphone, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I would always run it through a compressor just to kind of knock down the peaks and maybe a few dB. And again, that's a broad answer.
Yeah.
But that's where I would start. I wouldn't be compressing 10, 12 dB on a vocal on the way in. Now, I would maybe do that at mixing if you needed it, but not usually on the way in. Hope that makes sense. Okay.
That it also, I think, depends on the performance too, because like when I record vocals, I mean, I haven't done any vocal recording with all the hardware I have, but I would use a plug-in compressor And I guess it depended on the performance. If you had somebody that was really, really dynamic and had trouble controlling their levels, I would hit
Right.
it harder than somebody who was actually like more experienced on the mic and knew how to adjust, you know?
Yeah,
So
again, depends on the
it depends.
performance, the
Yeah.
singer. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but in general
Yep.
terms, not too much if I could help it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I remember at times even not even writing a compressor, but if a singer was really kind of a little bit all over the place, I would actually ride the
Yeah.
preamp. You know what I mean? Coming in to
Yeah.
make sure I had a little bit more of a
Yeah.
level performance, but
Mm-hmm.
which is compression, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah. Anyway, the
Uh,
question was, what was the favorite piece of gear I
yes, yeah,
added?
yep. I didn't forget. Go ahead.
Without a doubt, the DBX 560As.
That's the yeah. And if you guys didn't see
Without
the
a doubt.
video, if you didn't see the video, we just did. It just went up, I think, the other day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those are great little compressors for the money.
Yep.
$275. I remember.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, without a doubt, the DBX 560A. They're like, I think I said in my studio tour that that's the compressor I've been looking for my whole life. I wasn't kidding. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, they're everything I wanted out of them and more.
Nice.
And like so you can put anything on them and they sound good. They nothing sounds bad through them. So like I said, yeah, for me, that's of all the gear I have, which is funny too because it's one of the cheapest pieces I have and it's still one of my favorites.
And
So,
did you
you know.
sell it? Did you get anything in there that you thought wasn't what you thought it was, and you flipped it for something else, or did you keep
I
everything this
haven't
year?
I haven't flipped anything. Everything I've bought is in here, but there are definitely things that are on the list of things that I'm going to sell if I need the room.
Right.
And for sure, I think because the DBX 560As are as good as they are, my DBX 160A, which I only have one of, is definitely something that I can live without. It's a great compressor, believe me, but I only have one, and the flexibility of using it on stereo is not there. So if I was going to get rid of anything, it would be that. And like I do have the line 6 delay, the green one, like you have two of.
Yes.
And it's not that it's not good. It's just that I don't use it on anything. So it's like, okay, that's kind of like taking up a space that if I'm not using it, I don't need it in there. But yeah, but I mean, other than that, oh, and also to be perfectly honest with you, the two SSL dynamic modules that I bought off of you,
Yep.
I have to hit them so hard on this system. I don't know why it is, but I'm just not getting enough signal out of the interfaces to them. I mean, I think when you run them fully analog off of an insert on the board, you're probably hitting them with a lot more signal and they're reacting better. But when you're putting them through the DAW and then out the out the loop on the interface, they're just not getting enough signal, and I have to just pound on them to get any compression out of them at all. So I'm like,
okay. Those might go too.
Yeah, they're really not. To me, they're not appropriate for this setup. So they're probably going to be gone too, which will free up a couple spaces in the 500 rack for something else I might want to try.
There you go.
But yeah, but you know, those are the things that, those are the things that I'm looking at going, that they don't need to be here. Like the Lindell, that Lindell stereo effect compressor, that thing's a monster. That's a drum bus compressor and a half for me.
Right.
So yeah, so like I said, there are things in here that I could definitely, go without if I need the space for something else.
Cool. Cool. So Kaiser wants to know, is it worth getting the SSL Ultraviolet EQ 500 series? Well, for the price it is. It's like $500 right now. And Charlie at Ultimate Studios Inc., who's here tonight or was a little while ago, he loves that thing. Every time I ask him about what master bus EQ do you use, he says, buy that. I said, but I already have that on the Fusion with the exception of the mid-band. So that's why I haven't bought it myself, because I already kind of have most of it. I'm in the market for something else, but he loves it. And for that money, yes, it's a great EQ. Yeah. For $500 and you want that, I would buy it at $500.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
Day long. Match 3 Music Studio. Mach 3, sorry. Match A. I'm old.
Yeah.
Dave,
what do you want?
Dave, I know that you are primarily a mix studio, but what are your thoughts on recording wet? When you mean wet, do you mean like with reverb? That kind of, I guess that's what you mean, right?
Well, through any kind of processing probably is what I think you're referring to, would be like recording through compressors, recording through EQs and so on.
Yeah. So yeah, well, like I said a little earlier, typically when I was recording, and again, it's really dependent, but EQ compression to a degree. I try to get the sound at the source and get it kind of in there, but leave myself some wiggle room. Reverbs and delays, not usually. Usually when I was doing it, we would monitor with reverb, certainly for vocals and stuff, but we would print it dry, or we would have a wet and a dry track. So if the wet track didn't work, we had the dry track to build from. So sometimes, I mean, I'm big on committing the sound at the source and getting it in, but it really depends on what it is, and it really depends on the artist.
Yeah,
and the performance, it's really dependent. So I'm not against it, but I would be personally, I would be more conservative. Where my guess would be, without knowing for sure, well, he's here, he's chatting it up in the room. I'll bet you Charlie, who tracks all the time, my guess is he's probably got it so dialed in. He knows he's so into that my guess is he would probably process recording on the way in more wet than I would, because that's what he does, and he's got it dialed in, and he knows he knows his go-tos. Where I'm more on the mixing end of these days, that I would probably, if I was to start that back up, I would probably go in slowly, because once you record it, it's there. You can't take it out. And so
it's absolutely a situational thing. I mean, like if you have an amazing guitar sound, just throwing a mic in front of a guitar, you're not going to have to mess around with it. But if you, if you're recording an acoustic guitar that's all kinds of woofy or really spiky, then running it through a compressor and an EQ on the way in would be beneficial as far as like later production work is concerned. So like I said, it's a situational thing, depending on the situation. Yep.
Yeah.
So
DIY recording studio. Great seeing David SJ getting into the DIY. I'm a massive proponent of home studio recording, DIY audio gear like 500 series, mics, etc. A great way to taste test some bigger pieces. You have David. You have
David. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
First of all, I've been a DIYer all my life. So you're like, I mean, I just started getting into it as far as like the studio stuff is concerned, but I've always been a DIY guy. I would rather assemble a new guitar than go buy one, stuff like that. So, but it was a fun video to make. I wish more people had watched the damn videos.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for nobody to watch it, but we knew that's going to be it. But the people that did watch it really did appreciate it. So
which was very gratifying. I'm glad you
did it, because I wasn't going to do that. So I'm glad somebody did.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want a set for your studio, I'll be more than happy to build them for you. That's not a problem. But they're pretty much guaranteed there won't be videos next time.
No,
so,
those are going to be offline.
Yeah.
The DIY recording studio says he has 3 19-inch 160Xs, the DBXs. He slaps them on a kick, drums, and help guitars cut through the mix. One of the most underrated pro pieces of studio gear. I would agree.
Absolutely.
When I got my 160As, I was shocked how much I liked them and how usable they were. I don't know why. Maybe again, because we all kind of fall into the thing. Mine were $600 because they were modded, but even so, a $300 compressor, it's like, wow. I agree. I love them. I have 2 of them, and I like them a lot. I think they're really, really great pieces of gear for the money.
For sure. I mean, to me, they punch so far above their weight, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so, I would say. Okay, so now while people are chatting up, asking more questions. So that's what you got this year.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did I acquire this year? So, I got a lot of stuff, but the most recent stuff, the stuff that people really don't know about on the channel yet. So I just installed a pair of the Knee 542 tape emulators. That's the shit, man. Those things.
Yeah.
I had them once before. I sold them. And I'm never selling those things again.
Yeah.
I did a mix with them this weekend. Those things are killer.
They're what you want,
They're exactly what you think they're going to do, and what everybody says they do, and what all the hype is on them. It is that. Now I got mine on Reverb used, and I got a great deal on them, Dave. As you know, I didn't buy them new, and I got a really good deal. Someone was trying to unload them quick, and so I got a good deal on them. So I snatched them up, and I was like, "Oh, do I want to spend that much money right before Christmas?" So happy I did.
Yeah, so when you texted that to me, like, if you don't buy them, I will. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like,
you were like, dude,
you
you should
know,
buy those. That's
yeah,
a good
just, no,
price.
just buy them. Just stop playing around with, just buy
No,
them. You know?
they're awesome. I've now
Yeah.
taken the Slate Digital plugin off the master bus in the box.
Mhm.
That thing blows that plugin away. And we'll do a
Well,
video
there
on
you
that.
go.
There'll be a video.
Yep.
Also, I just picked up, with help with my good buddy Charlie. Dave doesn't even know this yet. I originally was looking for a master bus EQ, as I said. And I
Yeah.
wasn't, but so I wanted to try out the 500 series, the Trident 80B EQs. And Dave says, try them because you'll probably really like them on drums too. And although I didn't test it on the master bus, I put them on my drum bus on the mix I did yesterday. I will say he's right. They sound great on drums. And now I want to move. I'm going to try moving that API EQ to the master bus just to experiment with things. But I think those Tridents were $450 new on Sweetwater.
Yep.
Great sounding EQs. I mean, I've only just did them on that one mix, and pop a little 50, little 5K. Nice. So for $900, you got a nice set of stereo Trident. Those are nice. They're way different sounding than SSL. They're way different sounding than API.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. So I got to experiment with that. So I just got those. And also, which Dave knows about, but we haven't done a video yet because we just got it, was the audio-scape DBX 260 VU.
Yeah.
Which I have, which is a stereo compressor of the old 260. I used that this weekend for the first time on acoustic guitars, a stereo pair of acoustics, and it sounded beautiful. But I haven't put it through its paces yet. But so far, sounds great. Doesn't sound anything like the DBX 160s.
Yeah.
No.
If people are paying attention to the background, if you look behind Dave, you'll see that there's another level of rack over there that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, it's still not full. We got some room to expand. I have my eye on my next stereo EQ, but they're always on back order. I'm not even going to tell people because you can't find them. Everyone's got them on back order, so I'm going to wait until I'm not going to tell everyone what it is, and then I got to get a hold of one of these things. But I got a killer unit that I'm looking at. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. So that'll be cool. So those are the three. What else did I get? Those are the three most recent pieces. There's other stuff you guys have seen on the channel, but those are the three ones. And then, and the API 5500 EQ was another recent piece, and I love that thing. I mean, it's pricey, man, but if you want that API big, aggressive sound, that EQ, when I put on drums, unfreaking believable.
Yeah,
love it, but a little pricey. But I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Bobby says he does. Okay, it's good, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. But I was going to say that EQ, I don't think you can make anything sound bad with that thing. I mean, that you were kicking up 10 dB at 50 on that thing, and it's still
awesome.
Sounded amazing. It's like come on, man. So
sounded nice.
I mean, that's on my wish list. If anybody's doing a DIY version of that EQ, I'm going to build it.
Right. Bobby says that he doesn't use hardware, but they're great videos. Yeah, Bobby's really.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby. He's been a home recording me an easy disciple for, I don't know, since the beginning.
Yeah, he's been there all the time.
Well, I tell people all the time, you don't have to buy this stuff and be into hybrid to not learn. You can still. I mean, a lot of it is translatable. I mean, it's just gears, plugins. A lot of the things that we talk about are very transferable to plugins. So you'll still learn stuff from this, even if you're not ever in the market to buy any new gear. Let's see. Charlie says, you're absolutely correct. That is a situational thing. You must be about tracking wet.
Tracking, yeah.
Yeah, but I treat tracking like the beginning of a mix. Yeah, I get it. I have spent a lot of time experimenting on my own, and I've made my mistakes privately. Well, and he also records. Charlie's been doing some really cool videos lately on, I don't know what the series of the videos are called, but where he'll get like 25 microphones. Yeah. And he'll do drum room, a drum mono room mic, and he puts up, his whole mic or half his mic locker, and he listens, and he does a lot of that experimenting, and he's been putting it on camera, which I think is really cool, and it's very informative. And I was doing some of that, not to that degree, on some of the videos that we did, where we were listening to I think we were doing drum bus compressors, and we were comparing my 5 different compressors, and just experiment, just to kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone. So
Yeah.
you know what your gear is capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he does a lot of those videos, which is really cool. And like he says, he tracks a lot. So he knows, he's learning even more and more. You know, if I want that guitar sound, I know exactly how to EQ it, compress it, and mic it up, and then mixing is
Mm-hmm.
just about done on maybe that guitar,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
good tracking engineer. That's what they do.
Yeah, what I
That's
what I
what they
loved
do.
about that, what I love about those videos he does too, is you stick a mic on something that is that you would think is completely inappropriate for the application, and it actually works. It's like, okay, wow, that's a surprise, you know.
Right.
So,
I
yeah,
had that epiphany with the LA3 clones, the VA3As.
yes,
I
yeah,
put those, I use those usually on electric guitars because I like the
mm-hmm,
way LA3s sound on electrics, but I have a pair of them and I put them on a drum bus. I was like,
yeah,
wow, man, that
yeah,
sounds great on a drum bus. I
yeah. They
never would
absolutely,
have considered
yeah,
doing that.
they absolutely smacked on that drum bus. That was
Yeah, I
amazing,
was
you
really
know.
shocked. I was like, wow, those things
Mm-hmm.
are a little bit more usable than I really thought they were. But some of
Yeah.
it, you know, when you're working all day and you don't always have time to sit down and just experiment with your own projects, it's always good to do that every now and again. And then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Charlie's been filming that stuff, which is really cool and informative for people. And I'm trying to do some of the same so people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, see, hey, this is what you should be doing in your studio too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got the LN76. Oh, Lindell must be
Yeah,
76.
the
And although I
Lindells.
can't
Yeah.
remember the sound of the original 1176 that he used 32 years ago, the Lindell is super close. They're coming out with an LA version, probably an LA2A version, and he's getting
Yeah.
those as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, Dave, you got some Lindell gear, right?
I have a couple Lindell pieces I have a couple 500 rack pieces, and they're fantastic for the money. I mean, for
Yeah,
the money, especially, they're amazing. And I don't, you know, recently it turned out that I actually have an in with the owner of Lindell that I did not know existed. I actually have an in with the guy that owns and distributes Black Lion and Lindell that I did not know existed.
right.
So I'm not sure how I'm gonna, you know, do anything about it yet. But yeah, I actually know the guy that owns it. So it's like, okay, that was an eye-opening moment for me. And I'm hoping to be able to parlay that into some content and stuff over the coming year, you know.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a chance to act on any of it yet because I'm just waiting till after the holiday season before I try to do anything because they're buried over there, you know. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Holiday season and whatnot. Yeah. So that'll
yeah.
be really cool. So maybe we'll
Hmm.
see. I didn't know Dave was going to reveal that. I didn't know he could talk about that. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
we've
I mean,
talked about it a little bit.
yeah, I'm not telling them who it is or what the actual situation is yet because like I
Yeah.
said, I just don't know how I can parlay this into anything. But yeah, I had an actual conversation with the guy that owns it, and he seems receptive towards working with me a little bit. So we will see how that
Wonderful.
parlays next year, you know?
Yeah, that would be
So
fantastic. So again, if we're
yeah.
building relationships and we could get some gear to try some stuff and test some stuff and kind of
Hmm.
collaborate, we would be happy to do it because we like
Yeah.
learning. Because I don't know anything about. I mean, I have a Black Line Audio Bluey, but I don't know anything else
Hmm.
about the rest of their products, and I don't have any Lindell gear. So I would love
Hmm.
to. I would love to try some just to see. You know, what is
Yeah.
it? Maybe it's really good stuff, man.
Yep. Well,
Who
like I said,
knows?
I definitely want to bring the Pultec, the Lindell Pultec over to the studio to you just to
Oh
do a
yeah,
side by side. You know, I mean,
with the EQP.
that's going to be an interesting comparison to see what does a $500 500 rack thing compare to an actual Pultec clone. You know, how close did they get? I mean, I'm not expecting it to be dead on. Believe me, you know what I
Well, it's a
mean. But
different circuit. The Lindell
yeah,
doesn't have tubes in it, does it?
no, the Lindell has
Solid
no
state.
tubes in it.
Okay,
Plus,
so it's
also
going to
there.
sound a little different.
Yeah, plus they're also they are detented knobs too, so you can't go in between 6 and 7. You either be on 6 or 7.
Okay,
So, but
fine.
yeah, but it was I'm just curious to see, as far as like a solid state emulation of a Pultec, how close did they get? You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah,
expect to be perfect, but I just want to know. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I'm sure they
So,
sound great, and it'll sound different, and that's a good thing. I don't think if it sounded
yep,
exactly the same, it'd be cool to have something that sounds a little different. Even
yeah,
Pulse Technologies, even the company that makes Pultec, they make
mm-hmm,
500 series Pultecs that are solid state.
yep, yeah, they do.
And they're pretty
Yeah,
pricey, but they get really high praises if you read reviews on them. So I'm sure those sound great too. You know,
mm-hmm,
I don't
yep,
know. Charlie says tracking and mixing is no different than learning an instrument. You have to practice.
Absolutely.
You're preaching to the choir, brother. I say it all the time.
No kidding. Yep.
You don't,
no kidding.
you don't learn this shit in a 5-minute YouTube video. And you know, so when
Nope.
people get on me, oh, the videos are too long. You guys, I said, look, man, then you have no patience to learn this craft. This is no different than learning how to play an instrument well. We can all sit down and in 5 minutes, maybe play a couple of things on the drums or change a chord or two. But if you want to really learn how to get good at anything, you know, what's the rule? You got to put 10,000 hours in. But if you really want to get good at this stuff, you got to practice. And this is no different.
Yeah.
You know, it's no different.
Yeah, and I could speak. I could look at it that way too, is because like I have not been doing enough just flat mixing lately. You know what I mean? And I do feel like my chops are down. It's like guitar playing chops. It's the same thing. Like I need to. Like one of the things I do want to do in 2023 too is I want to get a lot of mixes done that I haven't been doing enough lately. So, you know, I just have to sit down and mix too. So you know.
It's like going to the gym. It's a muscle. You have to exercise the muscle. If you don't, you start to lose your sharpness. You know.
Yeah.
Mock Music says he would like us to do a review on the Lindell 76 and the Lindell 2A.
Yeah.
If we if Dave can pull that off, then we'll do it. If we can pull it off, we'll do it.
I'm not making any promises here. You know what I mean? It was literally a 5-minute conversation with a guy, and I was sitting there going, "Wait a minute, you own the company?" So it's like, okay, you know. So yeah, we'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll try. If he can make it happen, we would be happy to do it. I mean, we just, you know, we like trying new stuff, that's for sure. So, but you know, just like with everything, if we're going to bring a piece of gear, we're going to be honest, like it or not, you know, and that's 100%. The reason why sometimes I won't bring certain pieces of gear in here, because I already, you know, I don't want to, you know, so we'll see. But yeah, I would love to try it if he'd be willing to work with us. It would be wonderful. We would really appreciate it. Let's see. So let's talk about, let's talk about gear this coming year, Dave. Anything you got on the shopping list that you haven't bought yet?
Things that don't exist yet. I'm waiting to see what audio-scape does with their stereo LA3A that they're coming out with.
February is when it's coming.
Yeah, that's the piece I'm really waiting for right now, as I kind of want to see that. And other than that, I don't have anything huge on the list. I feel pretty good about what I have in here. You know, for what I can actually use, you know what I mean? Like it's like I can only do so much with the size of the studio and stuff. So like I feel pretty good about what I have in here now. So there really isn't a lot on the wish list. You know, because like I said, the LA3 that audio-scape is coming out with, I want to see that. The DBX 260 in your studio, I want to see that. You know.
Oh,
so,
it's already here. It's already in the rack.
Oh, I know it's there. I need to see that. So, you know, but those are the two things that I am thinking about more than anything else. Would I like to upgrade a few pieces? Yeah, I wouldn't mind upgrading a couple pieces. I occasionally think about upgrading the bus compressor from the Warm Audio to something, you know, a little bit different than that. I think about that, or possibly adding another choice for a bus compressor. You know, nothing, like I said, there's nothing really jumping out at me right now that I feel the need to upgrade to at the present moment in time, you know?
Okay. So, remember, you're on camera now, because when you called me next week and told me you bought.
Yeah, I know I'm on camera, you know, believe me, I know I'm on camera.
Look what I bought.
You know, but it's like I said too, it's like, I mean, I've said it before too. It's like, I'm limited on space, so I can only stick so much in here. So every piece has got to be very carefully considered coming in. And I've been pretty good about that so far, you know, and I have this much room left, and you know, there's a couple things I want to try to put in it, and then I'm full. And then it becomes a matter of, if I want something new, something else has to go. You know what I mean? So that then becomes a real question of, you know, does this piece do something for me or not, or can I do better? So every piece is going to be that way from here on out. So, you know,
right. Yep. I hear you. So Steve says the upcoming audio-scape stereo LA3, let me shrink this comment down a little bit. Sorry about that. Is the same circuit as their DA3. just a
Mm-hmm.
different faceplate to look more like the originals. Chris mentions, you're absolutely correct. That's exactly what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And I know this because I
Yeah.
talk to them on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is the same circuit. It's the VA3A is their LA3A circuit.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like an LA3A. I have two of them. Now, this one was actually made because one of his customers says he just wanted the real thing. It wasn't supposed to be a product. It was a prototype made for a customer. And then a lot of people saw it and said, I want one. And so now, but there are a couple of other things. There's some linking and dual mono linking and stereo. There's a couple other little features on there, but it is true to the original circuit. That is correct. That's what he's told me. So that is true. That is true.
Yeah,
but it looks hella cool though.
He's going to have 3 versions of an LA3A. He's going to have a 500 rack. He's going to have a single rack and then a dual rack with full size VU meters on it, basically, you know. And
no, I don't know if he'll maybe discontinue one. I don't know if he'll stop one production. I don't know how that's all going to go.
Yep. Yeah. Well, like I said too, like I've been looking at the what is it? Not the Heritage Audios. I can't remember who it is right now, but somebody makes like a regular like small half rack LA3A. You know, 2 of them would fit
you're talking about Golden Project Age?
Yeah, Golden Project. Yeah, Golden Age Project.
Charlie, if you're still chime in on that, because I think he has one. Or I think I know he has some Golden, I think it's called Golden Project 8 or Golden Age Project. He has a couple of units. I'm not sure which ones they are. And I know, and if he's told me he's liked them, so he may be able to chime in. I'm not sure if he has an LA3 or not, or they're 3A. I think he has the 2A, but Man Network says he owns a warm audio bus compressor and a Tegular Creme. I had a Tegular Creme many years ago. It was a good product. The Tegular is super sweet, but the warm is no slouch.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They're both based on the VCA compressor.
Yeah. Believe me, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, like, listen, if I can manage to work out a SSL and a genuine SSL bus compressor for a decent price, then the warm audio goes away. So
well, you can get a 500 series at half price right now. All the SSLG series are half price.
Yeah, I don't have a place to put it right now. So we'll have to
well, there you go. Well,
so.
Before you sell the warm audio, you ought to bring it in and we ought to compare it to the console compressor.
That's definitely something that's on our list. So
yeah, that would be really cool. Jim says he has the Golden Age 3A. Oh, how do you like it, Jim?
Okay.
How is it? Is it any good? Yeah. I've heard their stuff is really good. Again, they're another one that's very affordable. I think they're probably $500 or so, or they used to be. Maybe they've gone up a little bit. They're not terribly expensive. And I've never heard anyone say anything bad about them, but I've never heard one for myself. Okay, so as far as my new gear for 2023, I have a couple of things I'd like to get. One is the stereo EQ that I'm not going to tell anyone what the name of it is because people are going to go research it. They're going to want to buy it. They're hard to get. So I'm going to save that one. But I'm looking at another one. I've been looking at the Moog EQ, which I just love. I used to plug in all the time and I love it. I love to get the hardware and compare it. I'm definitely going to get another Pultec, an EQP. So I have a stereo pair for sure. I'm considering, I don't know, I have 2 more slots open in the 500 rack, and I don't know what I'm going to put there. It won't be compressors. It might be some EQs. I'm thinking about maybe a couple of 1073s just to try them. Again, something a little different flavor than the SSL board, when you don't want to use the SSL board on everything. I might look at that at one point. And then the other thing that we really talked a lot about, but just because of inflation and everything else, I just didn't do it. And I don't know if I'm going to do it in 23, but I may end up with a tape machine at one point. I don't know if it'll be next year. Maybe it will. I don't know. I don't need one, but I want to try one, man. I want a real tape machine in the joint.
Oh, I know.
I want to try.
Yeah, I know. We were. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I'm revealing anything here or not, but yeah, I mean, you had actually been talking to.
I had a quote and everything.
You had been talking to him about it and stuff, and we were not
pretty close.
Far away from pulling the trigger on it when
pretty close.
Things occurred that we decided we needed to step back away from it a little bit, and things are occurring that make me want to step back a little bit for spending a lot of money in here too. So that's kind of like where we're all at, But I mean, a tape machine would be
fun.
A whole lot of fun to play around with.
Yeah.
So
it would be cool. But so maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure at one point in one point in my career, I'll have one for no other reason, just to check it out.
Just to try it. Yeah.
Just to try and see what happens. You know, I don't know.
Yep.
Man Network says you can find an SSL G bus on Craigslist pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably could.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to find it for less than $1,200, which is what they're going for now. You know.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I just, like I say, I don't have a place to stick it right now unless I sell something out. And like I said, I'm not in any hurry. I'm in no hurry to do anything right now. So, you know.
Jim
how
says,
much
how much tape machine run? The one I was looking at was, well, brand new, completely, refurbished, built up, and completely done with op-amps put in them, about 10 grand. And then about 1,500 to ship it, crate it and ship it. So about 12,000 when you're all in. That's a brand new machine with a 3-year warranty. That's not a used thing that I have to maintain. And that's like brand new.
Yeah.
So that's how I would do it, because I'm not into, I'm going to recap and redo. And you know, I'm not that guy. If I was that guy, I would buy a used one and redo it. But no, that would be a brand new one.
Yeah.
So maybe
like about a year ago or so, somebody was selling a TAC mastering deck on Craigslist around here for like not a lot of money, but you know, guaranteed in working condition. And I still kind of regret not going and grabbing it, because the price he was asking for it was like, yeah, okay, you're really not taking that big of a risk, you know? So I really wish I'd gone and grabbed it, because at least that would have been something to play around with, at least, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll happen in the future. I just don't know at what point in the future. Bobby says, yeah, you need a few more EQs, because you do have a lot of compressors. I have a lot of compressors, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I have
we have a lot of compressors.
That's why I'm not really buying anymore, because I have every flavor that I need, and I don't know the only other compressor that I would just love to try it. I'd love to try the API 2500, but I'm not really in the market to buy one. But I have. Yeah, I don't use all the hardware on the mixes. I mean, I use different pieces on different mixes for different reasons. But what I don't want to do is, I don't ever want to get into a situation where it's like opening up a plugin browser. Like, you know, what am I going to use today? I want to kind of try to, the reason why I have so much now is a lot of it was experimenting, trying to figure out what I like, you know, and there may be some of those pieces that might go, because I just don't use them enough. It may not be for any other reason other than they're just, in other words, how many VCA compressors do I need? You know, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, there may be some pieces that might go for no other reason than maybe free up some funds to try something else. Yeah. To get the right amount of different flavors and tonal flavors that I want. But EQ, I don't have a lot of hardware EQ at all. The Trident and the API are the only two that I have, and I'm liking them both so far. So we'll see. I would agree with you, Bobby. I would agree with you. Yep. Let's see. Man Network says, guys at Mara sell rebeat me. That was the company I was going to buy it from, Mara Machines. But it wasn't
9 to 10,000.
Wasn't 9,000.
Yeah.
Well, they do make. I shouldn't say they started around 9,000. The model I was looking at would have been around 12. But
you were stepping up to the one with the
for the input and output there. Yeah, they were putting transformers in it and stuff.
Yeah,
you could take transformers in and out. There were some upgrades there, which again is a completely rebuilt machine with a full-on warranty. You know, when in this, you know, what you go, okay, and I mean, you take a look at these machines. There's a lot going on in those machines. I think they would be fun to play with. Yeah, I think they would be fun to play with.
Yeah. Although those tape modules you just added too, I mean, they're really good at doing tape stuff. So, you know, I mean, that would be a fun comparison too, but is there going to be a huge enough difference to warrant the thousands of dollars you spend on it when you have those two modules in the rack?
I don't know, but it would look cool. The tape spinning.
Yeah.
It'd look cool.
Yeah. I get it.
Who gives a shit who cares if it sounds better?
Okay, fine. Yes.
I don't know.
It's all about looking cool. Screw it.
Right. It's about looking cool on camera. I don't know if it's going to, and that's part of what we do here. What I'm learning, I don't know if it's how much better it's going to sound. It may not. Now, the thing about a tape machine like that, to flip that thing would not be easy. That's kind of it. You know, if I bought a tape machine, I was way loving it more than the 542s. I can sell the 542s in 40 minutes. They'd be gone. Somebody would buy them. A tape machine, a little different. So, but I'm all about, again, I don't know if it'll sound any better. It may not. I just think it's cool as hell. and I like cool, and I like having fun, and so, but that's a little bit of, that's almost $15,000 worth of fun. That's a little bit of a,
Yeah,
but
like I said,
we'll see.
It's a risk, So
Well, what's not a risk, right?
That's
Anyway,
true. Yeah.
let's see. I have a Lindell 2A and a Pultec EQ on my short-term goal. Oh, cool. But my ultimate goal is 2 years away, the SSL Origin, just like Uncle Dave. Hey, man, now they make a 16 channel, brother. You can get one at half of what is it, 40 grand? Yeah.
Yeah, they're 40 grand,
Yeah.
So
yeah, the Origin's a cool piece of gear, man. I've almost had it 2 years now, and I love it, man. Thing sounds great.
Yeah,
no matter what anyone says. So you could get you'll have one day. You will. You can finance it. They got companies that'll lease it to you. That's how I got mine.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. So that's cool. So so that's what we got coming up in 2023. That's the gear that we bought. That's what we got going on. We're just going to keep trucking down the road, and we're going to just keep having fun and keep experimenting and keep learning, and trying to capture it on camera and bring it to you guys as much as possible. And then hopefully you guys will find it interesting, and you'll keep supporting what we do.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
for sure,
we'll stop making videos. Be that simple.
Yeah. Well, we're never going to stop making videos. Just people just stop watching them.
Yeah, we just make them for ourselves. So you, me, and Charlie over at Ultimate Studios will watch them. And that'll be about it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just hang out with the three of us.
It'll be fun though.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you for. Oh, wow. Thank you for the super. I didn't see. I just saw it come through. Thank you, Bill. That's very, very cool of you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
He says that. Yeah, that's really nice of you. Let me drag his comment on here. He deserves a. How come I can't drag his comment? What's going on here?
Probably because it's super chat.
Oh, super chat won't let me put it on the screen. Okay, well, thank you, Bill. He says that Mara makes. He said that Mara makes great tape machines. That when I researched around, their name came up all the time, and I spoke to the owner over there. And
Chris.
he's really cool. He was really cool. I mean, really nice guy, very, very pleasant. Seemed like it would be a really cool experience. And like I said, I was very close to doing it. It probably will happen in the future, because I just, once I get something in my head, I have a hard time letting it go. So
kidding.
I got to assume that sooner or later there'll be a tape machine here at one point or another.
Oh, I know. I know there will be.
Yeah, sooner. I just don't know when it's going to be. But yeah, we'll definitely do that. But yeah, we're gonna. You guys continue to leave comments beneath this video and on our other videos. If there's other, like I said, ideas, can't promise we're going to be able to implement everything, but we're going to do as many as we can.
Yeah. I know I still need to work on the gain staging video, but that's like I'm having the same issue with the gain staging video I had when I did the patch bay videos. Like I know I want to do it. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do it yet. So it's like, one of those things, like as soon as I figure out how I'm going to do it, then I'll dive into it and get it done. Also, I mean, I don't know if it's official or not yet, but supposedly on January 7th, I'm going to come out and do a live mix.
Oh yeah, okay. You guys, I didn't know what you were about to say.
Yeah, supposly on January 7th.
You're supposed to come out. You're supposed to come out. You want to work on the board a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna do a live stream. Not sure what time it'll start, but we're just gonna run the camera, and then we'll eventually it'll be replayed. But Dave's gonna come in and play with the board and play with the gear a little bit. So yeah. That's unless the world comes to an end. Let's hope it doesn't. That should happen on January 7th.
Yeah, depending on the weather too, I mean, it looks like we're having a winter out here, so
But it'll happen. If it doesn't happen on that day for some reason, that is going to happen at one point very soon. And the next time you can come out here, we'll definitely do we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do a live streaming. People can watch you mix and ask questions and those kinds of things. And you can play with some of the new gears here.
Yeah, plus I got to play with the board for the first time in months, so
Yeah, you get to use it and have fun. It's fun. I mean, you'll have a good time with it. So yeah, that's gonna happen. And then we're gonna do other videos together. You'll be down, and we're gonna do other. I have a whole list of all the different videos. Which ones you're gonna do with me? Which ones you won't be here for? And so I know to do them. And when you come here, we try to do blocks of 3 and 4 videos, so we can utilize the time. And we're gonna do a ton. We're going to do a whole year's worth of content. We're going to, and then we're going to record. We're going to do some recording, as I said earlier, but again, it won't happen until probably the spring. But our first
Yep.
thing is going to be, we're going to record, because I'm getting ready to do a drum recording course, and we're going to record drums to the SSL, and we're going to mix it with hardware. Then we're going to take those same sessions and we're going to mix them with plugins, and we're going to do all that stuff so people can get all excited about the fact that we're going to compare hardware to plugins, and people love that. Oh, we got another. Oh, thank you so much for the super
Mach
chat,
3
man.
Music Studio. Mach
Thank
3
you,
Music
brother.
says he's our #1 fan. Thank you, sir.
Nice,
we appreciate
man.
that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys are great. I mean, again, our audience for the most part is slow but steady, but they're really highly engaged, and they like what we're doing. And yeah, we appreciate it, man. We're just here trying to help, and we're just, you know, sharing our learning experience with you is really what it is. It's just, we're learning, and we turn on the camera and we learn.
Yeah, we're having a really good time, and a lot of people are enjoying watching it, which is you know, freaking awesome, and not at all what we expected. So, you know.
No. I didn't know if anybody would watch any of these videos, but no, I'm glad that you guys do, and you guys are digging it. If you didn't see the Pultec video we did, the EQP, last week or the week before, go check that out. We get a lot of views on that, a lot of high praises for that video.
Yeah, that unit is so good, you know. I mean, it's like, I still like not being familiar with an actual Pultec. I still want to know exactly how familiar that's, you know, how exact of a copy that is from an original Pultec.
Well, you'd have to go get an original, which they have them, but you know, just like with anything else, right? You could put, if you put two of the same units together, they're all going to sound a little different anyway. Hardware is not going to sound identical. It's all going to sound different. So you'd have to get an original Pultec. I don't have one. Obviously, my guess is it's really unbelievably close. It sounds like all the Pultec plugins I've ever used. I mean, it has that sound to it, but it just sounds like it has a little bit more depth to it. We haven't done a hardware to plug in Pultec, but we're going to. That's on the list to do the audio-scape versus the universal audio versus the whatever it is, the waves one.
The Puig Tech on the waves.
I have 2 or 3 of them that we can try just to see what the differences are. We haven't done a lot of hardware EQ to software EQ yet. We'd like to do some more of those, because those seem to be a little bit closer. I'm real interested to try the new Tridents I bought. Trident makes a plugin of that unit, the ADB. So I'm going to probably pick that up and we'll try that. We did the API ones this year. We did the API plugin to hardware. And I'm going to do the SSL. So there's ones we're going to do, because people ask about EQ and how close is it. I only did one, and that was the API. And the API it's fairly close. I mean, it's way closer than what the compressors are. I've yet to hear a plug-in compressor that sounded like the hardware counterparts. It didn't sound good. It didn't sound like the hardware to me. Didn't sound like the hardware to me at all. But the EQs maybe a little bit closer, you know. Man says he tries to watch all the content you guys put out. Ultimate Studios, produce like a pro. Still learning from all things, even though he's been in your career for 20 years. Yeah, cool. Ultimate Studios. Charlie's got he does a lot of his content is really great as well. He does a lot of what we're doing, but he does a lot more. I mean, he's, you know, let's face it, he's got better production value. he's got better quality videos than we have. But he does a lot of good teaching. He's not on there. And so is Produce Like a Pro. Warren's great too. But
Warren's amazing.
A lot of the YouTube channels are just out. A lot of them, and I'm not saying Warren's like this, but a lot of them are out there just trying to sell you the gear that they got because they get commissions on it or what. Where Charlie doesn't do that. I don't do that. I don't give a shit if you buy any of this stuff. We just we get on here and say, this is what we think. If you're interested, if you're looking at this piece of gear for whatever reason, here's what 2 guys think of it. Take that for what it's worth. If you buy it, we don't get anything for it or anything at all. So there's not too many channels that do that, but I know Charlie's like that. He's really he's really good at, he's not there just selling stuff. He's just trying to show, because he has a lot of stuff, you know, here's what different things sound like with different microphones. Here's different pieces of gear. And he comes from, I think he comes from it from this very same angle that we try to come from it, more from a teaching perspective. And we're not just, we're not a sales page, you know? So, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we, you know, like I said, I think we're just happy if people are getting stuff that they like. You know what I mean? Like if you get, if you watch one of our videos and you get a piece of hardware and you feel like it helps you out and you love the sound of it,
Awesome.
that's what we want.
Great.
You know, that's what
Perfect.
we want. So, you know,
And if you don't, and you don't like the gear, you found that, oh, I don't, now I know what I don't like, I like this instead. That's just as valid. I
yeah,
mean,
well,
there's
more valid.
no, you know, all this stuff, none of this stuff is, a bunch of unicorn stuff, magic pieces. It's just all equipment. It's just all tools,
Yeah.
man. And everybody's got a different, a different set of ears, and they like different things, and none of it's wrong. And sometimes we surprise ourselves. I know a lot of times, like when we do our videos, like even in all of them, but especially in the EQP video, where we don't even know what each other's going to say. We don't listen to it and then figure out what we're going to say and then roll the camera.
Yeah.
We basically run the session through the board, make sure everything is working, patch everything. And then we say, okay, let's listen. And what you see on camera is really our genuine first reaction. It really is.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and sometimes we hear the same things, and many times we don't hear the same things, and we say it. He goes, I like this. And I go, I don't like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like with any one of those hardware videos like that. I mean, like we literally, like we patch it, we run audio through it just to make sure that there's actually audio passing through it, and then we shut it off. We don't listen to it.
No, we don't analyze it or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't do anything until we hit the record button. So like say like my first impression is my first impression.
Right.
You know, David's first impression is his first impression. That's genuine stuff going on there, because we didn't, like I said, I'll run, like, for some reason or other, I seem to be the hardware setup guy while David does the video stuff. So I will patch it. I will run video. I like with the EQP, like I ran audio through it. I kicked the bass. I kicked the low end up to make sure it was doing something. Turned it back down, and then hit the stop button on the music, and that's it. Okay, we're ready to go. So
yeah, it really is that simple. So we don't know what each other's going to say, and we don't have any preconceived notions of it. And sometimes we absolutely agree, and sometimes we don't agree at all, and that's okay.
Yeah,
it's no big deal.
I think the hardest thing I've ever had to do in a studio was when we were doing the 1176 shootout with the plugins, where I was trying to get the plugins and the hardware matched as far as like compression and release and everything. Like that was the hardest thing I've ever done, because it was a lot of tuning before we'd hit the camera. But even then, still, we weren't. We weren't analyzing it. I was just looking at needles, like the needles, get the needles to where they were all moving at the same distance and at the same rate, and then off, we're done. And then we started analyzing it once the cameras were on. So like I said, and that's the video that Steven Slate commented in, which still freaks me out to this day.
Yeah, he did. He had a nice comment about it.
Yeah, the fact that Steven Slate took the time to watch one of our videos, guys, that's huge for us. Okay?
Yeah, I mean,
that was huge.
Yeah. I mean, and he was very complimentary, and he thought we did a really accurate test. And that was great. And we weren't comparing stuff to his plugins, by the way. Not that we couldn't have, because actually, now in hindsight, I have his 76 plugins on that rig. I could have done it. I didn't think to do it.
Yeah. How many can we do too?
No, we were thinking about the CLA, the Waves, and the Universal Audio, because those seem to be the more popular ones that came to mind. But we weren't doing his plugins. We were doing doing other plugins, and we said the plugins don't sound like the hardware.
Not even close.
At least I couldn't. We couldn't get them to sound right. We couldn't get them to sound the same.
Nope. We tried. Couldn't do it.
Love you guys. Thank you, Charlie, brother. Charlie is a newfound brother, and we'll be back talking to you soon.
We love you too, Charlie. Believe me.
Yeah, we really. Charlie's a good guy, and me and him text an awful lot about equipment, and I'm always asking him, "What do you think of this? What do you think of that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no magic. I stress to the point, people every day, convincing them to ignore the marketing. Electrical audio can be measured in watts, volts, frequencies, ohms, resistance, and capacitance, etc. That's very well put.
Yeah.
It's very well put. None of this stuff is magic, and you can get if you're not a good engineer. We were talking a little earlier about the craft and learning the craft. If you don't have, and I don't care whether you're using plugins, hardware, or both. If you don't have basic engineering fundamentals down, you won't make any of this stuff sound good.
No.
And I'll even go as far as saying, I think I've said it once before, mixing with hardware it's harder in that you have to really understand gain staging. You really have to understand the gear. There's a lot more going on there than just dropping a plug-in. It's faster in the workflow and turning the knobs and instant on off. The benefits there are fantastic, but it's not like just dropping a plug-in and picking a preset. There's no presets in analog. So you really have to know this stuff inside and out and know how to make it work. And that's where it gets back to, you know, that's, some people call that a con. It's a downfall, and it takes time. It's expensive. It's old. It's clunky. It takes time, and you're not going to learn everything. You're not going to learn anything in a 15-minute YouTube video. You have to have the gear in your studio, and you have to take the time to really learn it. You need to do that with plugins too, but not to the degree you need to do with hardware. And so,
absolutely.
Yeah, hardware. When you go into this game, you got to go in. You can't go half in, half out. You know, I mean, you either got to really commit to this and learn it, or you're not going to have a good experience with it.
Yeah. Well, I know I've said that, you know, before too. It's like, I think what in my beginner hybrid video too, is I said the very first thing you have to know going into any kind of hybrid working with hardware is, if you're not happy with the mixes you're getting in the box, you're not going to be happy with the mixes you're getting hybrid.
Nope.
You have to know what you're doing. You have to be getting good mixes. You have to be able to know what a good mix sounds like in your studio before you're going to be able to use the hardware effectively anyway. So going through the trouble and expense of building a studio like this is worthless unless you know what you're doing. So, you know, and that's the thing I stress over and over again. So, you know, like you said too, you have to be an engineer. You have to be. You know?
Yeah, or to some degree, you have to be willing to learn, right? So, I mean, there's all different levels. So you have to be willing to learn, and you have to practice, and it is a craft. And I don't care whether you're using plugins or hardware or stock plugins, a third-party plugin, it doesn't make no difference. Nope. And so that's where the training comes in, you know, and you start in the box. You start in the box, you start with your stock plugins, and you learn the fundamentals. If you can't get a mix to sound balanced, clean, and I'll even go as far as to say professional, which is the stock tools in your DAW, then you have more work to do. Okay, it's just you just buy you buy some special third-party plugin. It's going to make your mix sound awesome. There's no such thing. I don't care what anybody says, and it's the same thing with hardware. It doesn't mean that you can't, you know, there's progression, right? You take time and you learn and you graduate, but it's like we said earlier, it is a craft, and people that watch this channel know that. You know, my other YouTube channel, that's more for beginners, and people are just, you know, weekend warriors, recording musicians. They're not engineers. They're musicians that just want their stuff to sound decent. That's different. That's different. So that's, you guys know that though. If you're watching this channel, you know that. At least I hope you do. That's why I love this channel. You guys are the real deal. First impressions is what it's all about. Thank you, Kaiser. And we try to be. We don't lie to you. And like you said, there's a lot of things. We'll may do something. I think we did this. It's happened in 2022 when we did the How Did We Get Here series, where a lot of the stuff that we, opinions that we had and things that we thought we were going to do and how we were going to do and the way things were in the beginning, we learned as we were going through this process that we were wrong. In some cases, we were wrong about a lot of things, and we shared that with you guys in that 3 or 4 part series called "How Did We Get Here." If you haven't seen that series, you should go see it. You go watch it, because it's just us two talking about different milestones from the time that I purchased the console to setting it up, and what did we learn? We listed all the mistakes we made, and boy, there was a lot of them.
Yeah, we owned up to every one of them,
and we did. And we're not pretending like we know everything. We don't know everything. We know much less than a lot of other people, but we also know more than a lot of other people. So we try to help the people, you know, we're learning and then we're trying to teach others.
Yeah. The process we went through to get to where it is now, because we haven't changed a lot in there since we did those videos, you know. I mean, like we haven't done much changing since then, because where we got it to is what works. Yes. And you know, like I said, our setup might not work for everybody else, but it works very well for us, you know. And so we're not doing a lot of changing anymore, which was a great place to get to, but it took us a year to get there. So you know, yeah.
And yeah, it took a while.
It's a process.
Well, it's definitely a process. Yeah, and it's still
Yeah.
tweaking a little bit, but it's what it has. You're right. It hasn't really changed all that much. There's been a couple of new pieces of gear that came in, but the
Yep.
overall workflow, the way things are
Yeah.
set up, a lot of that has been the same over the last 6 or 8 months. Because once we got it kind of dialed in, we said, okay, we got to stop, and I got to work in here now for 6 months and work and work and work and figure my way through. And I've done a lot of mixes in here, both for myself, just as learning, and then since then, thankfully, lots of client mixes, and I've learned a lot, and I've learned a ton about this stuff, and I'm still learning. But we're having a good time, Abe wants to know, what mics do you both have? What are they for?
Cheap ones.
I'm not a tracking house, so I don't have, like, if you want to know about microphones, go watch Ultimate Studios Inc. Charlie's got, I think his next video coming up, he's at 25. He laid out like 25 microphones on the floor. We're going to test all these.
Did you see that? Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't,
Yeah.
Wow.
So he'll tell you. I have some microphones that I have coming in, that I have already come in for my recording drums course. I have some microphones and stuff, but I haven't even started using them yet. But as far as what do I use on a daily basis, not much, because I don't track artists. It's not what I do. I'm not a recording studio. I'm a mixing studio that does some recording from a teaching perspective, and that's really it. So I don't have a deep mic locker at all.
Yeah, I have a small collection of mainly Rode and Blue, with some Shores and Sennheiser stuff thrown in as well, but nothing above budget. You know what I mean? Nothing above budget level stuff. And they, for what tracking I do, which is not much anymore, they were all fine. I mean, they work fine for me. So, and I don't need any more than I have. So for that matter, I probably have more than I need. So, I mean, the mic I use most is this one. This is a Rode Procaster. This is the mic I use most.
Oh yeah, for your voiceover, and I use the SM7 here, but that's just for voiceover stuff.
It's the only mic that's not in a case over on the shelf. So that's what it is.
Yeah, so. I mean, many years ago when I was recording artists, I mean, I had all the standard stuff. The 414s, I had, Rode NT1As, I had. I didn't have real U87s, but a couple of U87 clones. I mean, I had S57s, all the different, all the standard stuff, Sennheiser 421s. But I've never had a really deep mic locker, because that was not my focus. Man Network says, outside of liking, sharing, and subscribing, is there anything folks like me can do to help you guys? Man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Just keep watching and like, share, subscribe. That's the most thing, because this channel only exists if people like you are watching and getting something out of it, because we don't get anything out of this. We're not a sponsored channel. We don't make, I mean, the channel's not very big. I'm making nothing on this channel as far as ad money goes, very, very little. And so we do this as like a passion project for fun. And so we're only doing it because you guys are watching it. If you guys stop watching it, we're going to stop making them. So keep doing that.
We'll just keep doing that. But what we need, like, share, subscribe, a comment too. Dropping comments
helps.
Makes the algorithm notice you. If people are commenting on videos, the algorithm notices you. We get in front of more people. Watch the videos, hit the like button, drop a comment. Anything. We don't care what it is. Just drop a comment so that the algorithm notices us.
Well, something, we care what it is. I mean, the good news is, in 2022, all the riffraff from the channel pretty much has been eliminated. We have we get very little hate comments today. In the beginning, it was unbelievable. I thought, my God, what the hell did I get myself into? But no, most of that's gone. So so just, and also too, it's happened only a few times, but just so people know, okay, I'll say this publicly, because people sometimes don't really realize. Look, I have 2 YouTube channels. One YouTube channel that I have is way bigger than this channel. Between those 2 channels, I get literally hundreds of comments in a week, sometimes 50, 60 a day. And I personally, not some assistant, not some hired employee like a lot of these other channels. I personally go in and respond to every single comment. And a lot of times, so people know, I'll just say, hey, thanks for watching. And that's
Yeah.
offended a few people in the past. Like, oh, you don't engage with your audience. You just say thanks. That's just like a
Oh,
bot
crap.
doing that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have
Crap.
time, as much as I would love to, believe me. I don't
Yeah.
have time to write 4 sentences in every single thing, because sometimes somebody will just be making a point on a video and I'll say, thanks for watching. Or they'll say, hey, I like this over this in your video. And I'll say, great, thanks for watching. I only do that to I want to acknowledge that you acknowledge that you actually sent me a comment and you know that I read it. That's why I do that. Most YouTube channels don't even respond to half their comments because they said there's too many of them and they're tired of filtering through all the hate that goes on. I go through all of that. I filter all the nonsense out so you guys never see it. And like I said, it's gotten so much better recently, which is great.
Yeah.
And even if I just give you a thumbs up, even if I just say thank you, it's just to let you know I did read your comment and I appreciate you. That's it. I don't have the time to do a personalized response to everybody, because I would have to hire a team of people. I get so many comments on my 2 YouTube channels. So I know most people probably realize that, but I have had in the recent past people get pissy because I don't engage enough. I don't know what you want me to do. I mean, I don't have the time, guys. I'm running 3 different businesses here. So I gotta use my time wisely. So I hope that's okay with everybody. If you have a specific question, you can email me through the website and I can try to help you that way. But if you're just commenting on a video, just know that's why I'm doing it that way. That's okay.
Yeah, and I read all the comments once they're up, because it's David's channel. So like, I don't have that end of it. So like, but I look at all the comments on the videos and I try to respond to the ones that, need to be responding to. You know what I mean? Like questions or things like that, or somebody that needs a clarification. I try to get in and respond to them. So, sometimes I'm seeing them all too, Yeah,
sometimes I will respond, but a lot of times it's just like someone will say, well, I like this over this. And I'll go, okay, thanks for watching. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say beyond that. Don't be offended by that.
You like that. Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's valid. You like it. Great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, just so people know, that's the only reason. I'm not trying to brush you off, because I don't have time. So that's as easy as that. Let's see.
Man Network says, when you reply to me, I expect a massively long love letter. Yeah, good luck with
I wish
that,
I had the time.
Thumbs up. That's about as massively long love letter as you're going to get.
That's it. Right there. I'll tell you, though, we're one of the few channels, and I think Charlie's like this too. I know he is. He doesn't have assistants running his channel. But there's a lot of these other channels, bigger channels, great people, love them. But when you're emailing them or responding, if you think they're actually responding and reading your comment, you're incorrect about that. It's one of their interns that are doing it for them. They don't even see half your comments. And I know that because I'm friends with some of these people, and they actually told me that once you get a little bit bigger, brother, you're not going to be reading comments anymore. And I try to stay with it between my 2 channels. I try to as much as I can. But hey, what are you going to do? So that's that. Nothing. So
You're not gonna do anything.
So what else, Dave? Anything else? Anything else you guys got? We've been on here an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're on an hour and a half. I'm pretty much covered everything I had to cover. So, I mean.
So if you guys have any other questions or anything else?
I do expect everybody to watchdog me. So if I do a studio tour 6 months from now and every single piece in here is changed, you do have the right to bust my balls.
Yeah, so, he says, I'm not getting anything new. I got everything I need.
Oh, I'm not planning on getting a lot of I'm not planning on getting a lot of gear. I'm not planning it. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I'm not planning it. But again, I said too, like if you see a studio tour 6 months from now and every single piece is changed, bust my balls incessantly in the chat. You're entitled to it. So,
Yeah, we think things will change. I'm sure there'll be new pieces of gear, and there may be old pieces of gear going away, but I have a feeling there's going to be some new pieces of gear coming in sooner than later. That would be my guess if I had to bet.
Yeah.
Are you still doing subscriber tour? Well, not right now. We did a couple, and honestly, they weren't really well received. So part of experimenting and trying to make content that you guys really want to see, is something that I don't want to make videos nobody's going to watch. And so because again, it just comes down to sheer being able to run 3 websites. That doesn't include all the clients I have to deal with on private teaching and everything else. To do these things take a long time. And so right now we may at one point, there's a couple of guys that have some studios that we may do some studios, subscriber studio spotlight. But there's not any plans right now. But
yeah, we're not planning on doing like a regular monthly schedule like we were talking about originally, because it just didn't translate.
didn't
So,
translate.
you know,
People didn't really want to see them, and that's okay. I
yeah.
mean, we try new things, and you don't know what's going to work unless you do a few of them and you see what works and what doesn't work. And so,
Yeah.
we want to try to make videos that people actually are going to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What are those showing studios owned by subs? Yes, that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were trying to feature different people's studios, but there's a lot more technical stuff that has to go on to make that come off right. And it really has to do with the person that we're talking to. Do they have the right technology and the right internet and the right cameras and all that stuff? And it's not easy. And because a lot of people don't usually do that kind of stuff on a regular basis. So they don't have all that technology to make it really come off right. So that's what we were doing again. And part of it was also my schedule and being able to find time to do those things. So that's what we were doing. Again, we might do a couple next year to try it again. And if it turns around, who knows? Maybe we'll do something. Let's see. Abe wants to know, hey Abe, how's running guitar pedals on your mix chain been? I've tried it a couple of times. It was okay.
It's cool.
It's cool.
But
I didn't spend a lot of time with it. The amount of times that I really need to do that, I just found using a plugin was easier. But it's a cool thing. And you can get some really cool tones, and I don't have a lot of pedals or anything like that. So I started to go down that road. I played with it a little bit. I thought it was cool, but then I kind of lost interest and kind of put it off to the side. And maybe I'll revisit it again. I don't know.
I think it has more to do with the pedals that you're using to me. I mean, like if you have a guitar pedal that does something really cool and unique, then I can definitely see doing it more. I mean, like my pedal collection is very basic. I just have your basic distortions, chorus, reverbs, delays. I don't have anything extraordinary for my collection. So you're not getting anything unusual out of it that you can't get out of a plugin or anything else. So yeah, I agree with Dave. I mean, it's a cool idea, but I think it's way more about the pedals that you're using than it is about actually just using pedals. So, you know, I've seen Charlie get amazing.
Yeah, he has a whole collection of he uses them a lot, and he records lots of guitars. He has a lot of that stuff in house. I don't have that stuff in house. So yeah. So that's why. So yeah, he's done some really cool stuff on that. And if you go watch his channel, you'll see he's done some really, really cool videos on using guitar effects in mixing and that kind of a thing with some distortion boxes and some flangers and some other things, I think.
Yeah. Man Network wants to know if it was a live stream. Yeah, they were live. The studio tours were live streams.
Yes.
Which was better because that way you have interaction with the chat to keep it moving along sometimes. But it's like I said, people just weren't really, people weren't reacting to it in a way that we felt it was worth continuing. We had a good time with the guys that we did it with. I mean,
they were great guys.
Friends.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with them.
They did amazing jobs at doing it, but people just didn't really seem to care. So we kind of backed off to do other things instead. So.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was if those streams were really popular, or if the subsequent, replay videos got lots of views and people were interested in it, we would continue to somehow work it out and do them. But at least the few that we did, no one really seemed to care, and unfortunately, and so it was like, okay, well, then if you guys don't want that, we'll make something that you guys want to see. We hope at least that's what we try, because it does take a lot of time to put these together. We want to try to do the stuff you guys want to see for the most part. So,
just Abe, I see your comment now. You put it up there a couple times about AI, JS script stuff. I'm the Reaper user. Dave does not use Reaper. And I think I get it. I get how it's really cool, but bro, I got no time for programming plugins, man. I don't. If you're coming up with really cool plugins though, get on the Reaper forum and post them up on there, because people are always looking for new ones. But like I said, as far as like what we're doing, nah, it's not something we're going to get into.
Yeah, not on this channel. I mean, cool idea, but it just doesn't. Yeah, just something that we're not really going to do.
Jimmy, you were not boring. Jimmy, you were not boring at all.
It was all Jimmy's fault.
You did a great job. You did a great job, man.
It wasn't the studios that we did. It was the viewers. Again, you just don't know. You don't know what people are going to want to watch. And that's all. Had nothing to do with it had nothing to do with the people we were talking to. It had to do with people don't really want to see that kind of content here for whatever reason. I thought it was a cool idea, but
I did too. I thought it was a great idea, but just like I said, it just didn't translate.
Yeah, and again, maybe not to say we wouldn't try it in the future. We may try it in the future.
Yep.
Okay, Bobby, you too. Have a great holiday, safe with you and your family. And we'll see you next year for sure. We really do appreciate your support, my friend. We really do appreciate your support.
Yep.
All right, man. Has anyone got anything else they want to ask or talk about? If not, we can end it here. It's a Sunday evening. All you people, including myself, have to go to work tomorrow. So everyone probably wants to,
bright and early. Got to be at work at 6:30 tomorrow morning as usual. So
Yeah. So make sure again, everybody like, share, subscribe. Thanks so much for your support all through this year. We really do appreciate it. I can't tell you how much it means to us that somebody's out there watching and you kind of dig what we do. Continue to leave your video ideas. We'll try to implement the ones that are feasible, and there's going to be ones that maybe we can't, but we're going to certainly try. We are going to be here all of next year creating content and some cool stuff, and hopefully you guys will like it. And we'll just see where this whole thing kind of goes, man.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely, man.
All right, man. Well, if that's it, nobody has anything else.
Hold on.
Have a wonderful. Oh, wait, someone got something else? You're gonna get it under the wire?
Yeah, Atacama Beats Indie Recordings. David, how has been your color palette? How do you like it? I like it.
I can't put his name. Oh, there it is. I couldn't put his thing up there.
It's pretty, it's pretty two-dimensional to me. It just does what it does. But it definitely helps you add flavors to different tracks. But as far as like using like I was hoping to be able to use the 15 IPS as like a tape plug-in on the master bus, and it's just not good enough for that. It's not. I still prefer the tape plugins for that. But like I said, I mean, for the money, for the investment that it is, and for the time it took, I think they're fantastic. I'm probably going to buy a whole bunch more modules just to have a whole bunch more flavors to play with. So still recommend it. Still think that if it's something people want to get into, go for it. It's a lot of fun to do, and it's going to give you a lot of interesting colors and flavors for your mixing. So yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a cool thing. They make some cool stuff. You'll probably do some. We'll at least demo maybe some of their stuff next year. Like, so you won't film it, but we'll demo it.
We'll play. I'll probably play with some stuff from here. Rather than bring it to the studio again, I'll just play with some stuff from here with it.
Yeah, cool, man.
All right,
guys. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see you at the beginning of 2023. And again, leave comments below, and we'll talk to you guys in the new year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you.